Tang San party, do not enter. Protagonist Guangling Qingluan. I thought that after the self-destruction in the Battle of Jialing Pass, my Guangling would completely fall. But I didn't expect that God gave me another chance. I was reborn at the age of 6 and met Tang San, who would destroy the martial soul empire, 20 years later. Let's do it again, my light feather. I will not repeat the same mistake and will definitely protect the martial soul empire. The protagonist is the martial soul hall. Sacrifice hall. In the early stage, he seized the opportunity of Tang San, and in the later stage, he abused Tang San, Shrek, and Yu Xiaogang keywords of the novel. The Light Feather of Douluo's Rebirth with no pop-ups. Download the complete TXT collection of The Light Feather of Douluo's Rebirth, and read the latest chapters of The Light Feather of Douluo's Rebirth. Chapter 1. Rebirth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 2. Awakening Martial Soul. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Awakening Martial Soul. Guangling followed the village chief to the door of a room, and the village chief said, "Children, go in. Mr. Su Yuntao is waiting for you inside." The children standing in front of the door answered together, "Yes, village chief." Guangling followed the other children inside and awakened his martial soul. There is a man in his 20s waiting for them inside. The man smiled and said, "Children, I am the mentor responsible for awakening your martial souls this time, Su Yuntao, a level 26 soul master." After introducing himself, Su Yuntao took out 6 awakening stones to form a 6-pointed formation, and then took out another soul power ball. "Children, now all you need to do is stand in the formation, lift your right hand, and feel the changes in your body with your heart. Remember, no matter what you see, don't be afraid, I'm here for everything." So let's get started. Next, children, please awaken their martial souls one by one. Unfortunately, martial soul sickle. It barely has attack power. Come and see if you have soul power, kid. Subsequently, Su Yuntao took out a soul power ball and said to the child, "Don't be nervous, just put your hands on this ball." The child placed their hand on the soul ball, but the soul ball remained unchanged. Unfortunately, you don't have soul power. You can't become a soul master. Next, Su Yuntao said. You also lack soul power and cannot become the next soul master. You're the same, let's move on. As time passed, the children went to awaken their martial souls one by one, and Su Yuntao shook his head time and time again, with more and more disappointment on his face. Until the last light feather went to awaken the martial soul, Su Yuntao's eyes suddenly widened. Alas, this year's child's qualifications are still too poor, and you shouldn't be able to. This is actually a Bao martial soul. This kind of aura. Guangling raised her right hand, and at the moment when her martial soul awakened, the left half of her face was covered with ice. This is a martial soul backlash. But Su Yuntao didn't pay much attention either. Then Su Yuntao exclaimed excitedly, "Child, come and test your innate soul power quickly." Guangling glanced at Su Yuntao before slowly placing her hand on the soul power ball. At the moment when Guangling placed her hand on the soul power ball, it immediately emitted a dazzling light. Surprisingly, it's innate soul power. Su Yuntao exclaimed in surprise. Upon seeing this scene, Guangling couldn't help but be taken aback. In my previous life, I was not born with full soul power. How did it become innate full soul power? Is it because the old man has been reborn? Well, it must be like this. Guangling thought unimaginably. Gongwu soul, is it innate full soul power? Genius, this is a genius. Su Yuntao said excitedly later. He asked Guangling again, "Child, would you like to join the martial soul hall?" Join the martial soul hall. Guangling thought to herself that if she entered the martial soul hall, she would definitely go to the martial soul hall academy, so that I wouldn't be able to find Tang San. And I don't want to join the martial soul hall. I went into the worship hall to find the big blue bird and the others. Alas, I don't know how the big blue bird and his team are doing. Forget it, it's better not to join for now. I can also use this to find the person named Tang San. If I can kill him before he grows up, it would be great. Thinking of the fate of his previous life, Guangling was filled with hatred towards Tang San. Later, Guangling replied, Mr. Su Yuntao, I would like to reconsider. Su Yuntao heard this, old man. How old is this child? But without any annoyance, he said, okay, take your time to consider when you're willing to join the Soul Palace. You can come to me anytime. Okay, Mr. Su Yuntao. Then Su Yuntao and the children left the room together, and the village chief had been waiting outside for a long time. Seeing them come out, he immediately greeted them and asked, well, Mr. Su Yuntao. Do we have any children in our village who can become soul masters this year? Su Yuntao replied, yes. There is one. Really, which child is it? Let me take a look quickly. Later, Su Yuntao pulled Guangling over and said, this child has great talent and is a rare genius. Upon hearing this, the village chief smiled and said, okay. I've made a decision, and will give you the quota for working students in our village this year. Okay, thank you, village chief. Guangling replied. 3 months later on the way to Notting College again, Guangling, today the Junior Soul Master Academy Notting College will start in 2 days. The village chief hopes that you can study hard there and graduate smoothly. Don't disappoint everyone's expectations of you. Alright, here we go, Grandpa will take you here. Grandpa will come back to pick you up after this semester's vacation. Go, Guangling. Thank you, Grandpa Village Chief. Goodbye, Grandpa Village Chief. Guangling politely said goodbye to the village chief. To be honest, he is very grateful to this village chief in his heart. After all, he has provided himself with a place to live, and now he has occupied the spot for the village's working-class students. Guangling handed over his Soul Master certificate to the 2 gatekeepers. And just as Guangling was preparing to enter the college. At this moment, an old man in his 70s and 80s walked over with a little boy. The old man said, Sir, this is a working-class student from our Holy Soul Village this year. Here is the Soul Master certificate, please take a look. Can you guess where the other worshippers went? Seeking collection. Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Goodbye Tang San. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Goodbye Tang San. The gatekeeper glanced at the Soul Master certificate and then at Tang San with a smile, saying, Blue silver grass. You still have innate soul power. I think your certificate is fake. Tang San glanced at the guard, and the silent sleeve arrow in his sleeve was ready to take the guard's life at any time. Tang San thought to himself. Article 3 of the Xiantian Treasure Record of the Tang Clan. Confirm that the opponent is an enemy. As long as there is a way to take death, there is no need to show mercy, otherwise it will only add trouble to oneself. Old Jack said angrily, You are the proof of the martial soul hall. It's definitely not fake. The gatekeeper said impatiently, Oh, go. Just as Tang San was about to launch the silent sleeve arrow, a middle-aged man with a long beard and an inch-long head, black cloth clothes and black cloth shoes, and an ordinary appearance quickly walked over. He said, Wait a moment. Guangling thought to herself. Is this the national teacher of the Heavenly Dou Empire during the Battle of Jialing Pass? The guard saw the middle-aged man and quickly said, Great. Master, why did you come? The middle-aged man, known as the Master, took the Soul Master certificate from the gatekeeper and said, This is not fake. Let them in, there will be no next time. The Master thought to himself, Is one of the children mentioned by the dean as having innate soul power, blue silver grass? He definitely has another very powerful martial soul. Yes. Okay, thank you, Master," the gatekeeper thanked him. Then Guangling saw the middle-aged man in black cloth walking towards him with the little boy. The master said to Guangling, "Child, can you prove your martial soul to me?" "There's no way," Guangling can only prove it to him by the soul master. The master took the soul master certificate from Guangling's hand and opened it. Surprisingly, it was another innate full soul power, and the martial soul was still a Bao. Bao-type martial souls are very rare in the martial soul realm. If Bao-type martial souls are cultivated properly, it can kill enemies from hundreds or even thousands of miles away without being aware of it. The master looked at Guangling with an ugly smile, even worse than crying, and said, "Child, come with me." Guangling looked at the man in front of him, probably the national teacher of the future Tiando Empire. In order to inquire about the enemy situation, Guangling had to follow the master. On the way, Tang San couldn't help but ask, "Master, are you a teacher at this school?" "No, why do those people call you master?" Tang San asked. "Because I once proposed a very powerful theory, they all called me a master." "Master Yu," replied confidently. Guangling only wanted to roll his eyes when he saw this man. The theory proposed by this man was clearly the result of countless soul masters verifying it for thousands of years, and isn't the theory he proposed common sense? "Oh, it's like this, then why are you in this academy?" Tang San seemed to have countless questions, wanting to ask the master. "It's nothing, it's just a guest who lives here just to eat and drink," the master replied, but Yu Xiaogang didn't think there was anything inappropriate about it. "It's an honor for a master like himself to stay here," and his tone actually carries a sense of pride. Then the master took Guangling and Tang San to a rarely visited place in the academy, saying that there was something very important to tell them. Guangling saw the master with a lewd smile on his face and shuddered, feeling uneasy and kind-hearted. The master put away his ugly smile and took out Tang San's soul master certificate. "Look at the martial soul blue-silver grass marked above, as well as the innate full soul power." A few words almost made the master unable to hold back his smile. But the upward curve of his mouth betrayed him. The master pretended to cough and said nonchalantly, "Your name is Tang San, right?" Then he glanced at the feather and deliberately spread the light feather. He said to Tang San, "If I'm not mistaken, you should have another martial soul. Twin martial souls are exceptionally rich. In today's world, besides the Pope, Tang San is considered one. It's not good for anyone to spread this kind of thing." Tang San heard what Yu Xiaogang said, and a hint of malice flashed in his eyes. "How did this person know?" "Dad said, you must never let others know that you are a twin martial soul. The silent sleeve arrow in your sleeve is ready, and you can take this person's life at any time." Tang San asked cautiously, "How do you know?" Upon seeing his appearance, Yu Xiaogang was even more certain of his conjecture. He pointed to Tang San's admission certificate and confidently said, "It is this report that tells me. In this world, innate full soul power has appeared 16 times, and their martial souls are all powerful. Of course, there are also some mutated martial souls. It is obvious that blue-silver grass cannot satisfy innate full soul power, so I can be certain that you also have another martial soul, and it is a very powerful martial soul." Tang San felt that what Yu Xiaogang said was very reasonable. As a newcomer to the Douluo world, he still didn't understand the rules of this world. But just that, Tang San couldn't let go of his guard and ask again, "Can't I be this exception? Mutated martial soul." Upon hearing Tang San's question, the master smiled and his heart was already filled with laughter. Not bad, I had already deceived him. But his face remained unchanged as he continued, "I have been studying martial souls for decades and have studied a large number of people who possess blue-silver grass martial souls. Among them, there are very few who possess soul power, and the highest is only one level. However, the mutation of blue-silver grass obviously only mutates towards the weak direction." After Yu Xiaogang finished speaking about his chaotic reasons, Tang San immediately knelt down and said, one day as a teacher, one lifetime as a father. Master, please accept my disciple's worship. The master was immediately flattered and quickly helped Tang San up, saying with a smile, "Foolish child, there is no need to kneel down to worship a teacher. Kneeling down is a great gift to the king and his parents." Guangling listened to the conversation between these two people and found that he was not interested in such things. He was just about to leave. After settling Tang San down, the master saw Guangling preparing to leave. Immediately stopped Guangling and said, "Your name is Guangling, right? Would you be willing to become my disciple? I promise that with my guidance, your future achievements will definitely be titled Douluo." Guangling glanced at the master in her heart and thought to herself, "Do I still need you to teach me? It's not easy for me to become a titled Douluo based on my previous life experience." Guangling glanced at the master and smiled, saying, "No need, thank you very much for your kindness." Master Guangling didn't agree and said again, "Don't you believe me? I'm telling you that the person who proposed the top 10 core competencies of martial souls is me. With my guidance, you will definitely become a titled Douluo in the future." Guangling glanced at him and smiled at the lewd master, thinking to himself, how could there be such a shameless person? Guangling glanced and said, "No need, thank you." Then he left immediately, without waiting for the opportunity for the master to react. You, said the master. Tang San looked at his gaze and thought to himself. According to the rules of the Tang sect, this person is so disrespectful to the teacher that he has a way to die. The master said to Tang San, "I will take you to the teaching office to obtain your academic record. Then I will have someone send you a set of bedding." Tang Sanyi was very grateful upon hearing this and immediately said, "Okay, thank you, teacher." Prior notice, this book. Tang San and Yu Xiaogang tied for the first place in a miserable tie. Next is Tang Hao. After all, I am also a feather. So, we must retaliate back. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Encountering Qingluan again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Encountering Qingluan again. Leaving away from the disgusting master and disciple, Guangling felt that the air had become fresh. Then quickly walked towards the dormitory of the working-class students. I heard that the dormitory for working-class students, named Qisha, is the worst-conditioned dormitory and also specifically designed for working-class students. Guangling walked up to the gate of Qisha and looked at the sign. This should be Qisha, right? Guangling pushed the door and entered. Guangling. A foot wearing pink shoes rushed towards the light feather. Subconsciously dodging, what kind of thing? Is the welcome ceremony in this dormitory so joyful? Then, facing the girl who was attacking Guangling, she crossed her waist and said, "I am the leader and dancer of Qisha. Qisha has a rule that whoever is powerful is the leader. Do you dare to compare with me?" Looking back at Wang Sheng and others with bruises and swollen faces, their faces were full of pride. Guangling glanced at a small pink dress in front of her, with 2 rabbit ears on her head. She was also called Xiaowu. Is this the 100,000-year-old soft-bone rabbit? Humph, we've gathered everything together. I didn't expect not in college to bring such a big surprise to me. I have already found 2 enemies from my previous life. It seems that I need to hurry up and cultivate. Guangling glanced at the rabbit in her heart when she saw it. I don't want to be the boss, I just want to go to school safely and kill Tang San and his disciples while passing by. No, there's still this rabbit now. Maybe we can catch her and use her as my 9th soul ring. Guangling said, I didn't want to be the boss. Why? Do you look down on me or do you think you can't beat me? Xiaowu spoke arrogantly, her hands on her hips, with a domineering yet unwavering expression. It's boring. Then Guangling walked towards an empty bed in the 7 houses, put down her bow, and prepared to practice. How could you? How could you do this? Look at Xiaowu not picking on you. Xiaowu was very angry. In no time, Tang San arrived. Xiao Wu was filled with anger and sorrow, and had nowhere to vent her anger. She immediately launched a series of attacks on Tang San. As a result, Tang San defeated Xiao Wu. After finishing the fight with Xiao Wu, Tang San instinctively searched for the trace of Guangling. I realized that Guangling had already occupied the innermost bed of the dormitory, practicing on it. Tang San, Guangling, come and collect the bedding quickly. The door was opened, and 2 teachers came to deliver the bedding. Thank you. Guangling stood up and said, taking the bedding and returning to her bed. In my spare time, as I advanced to the first level yesterday, no matter how much I practice, it is impossible to advance again in a short period of time. So Guangling lay bored in bed and looked up at the ceiling. Alas, the old man has been reborn, and I don't know how the big green bird and his companions are doing. Suddenly, there was a commotion coming from Tang San's side. Guangling looked over and realized that it was Xiao Wu who placed her bundle on Tang San's bed and confidently said, Tang San, your blanket is so big, let's sleep together. Seeing the light feather in this scene, I was shocked in my heart. The 2 of them are really a pair, so young they are together. I have already shared the same bed. Guangling gave them a thumbs up in her heart, amazing. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, it's time for lunch. As Guangling is still a work student, she can only eat on the first floor. The food on the first floor is really not very good. During the process of picking vegetables, Guangling vaguely saw a familiar figure. But for a moment, I didn't remember who it was, so I continued to eat. After finishing the meal, Guangling claimed that she wanted to go out and explore on her own. Wandering around the school, wanting to see if I could meet that familiar figure. Finally, under a big tree, I saw a boy practicing. That person's appearance is extremely similar. Guangling immediately chased after him and asked, Big Blue Bird. The boy who was practicing trembled when he heard Guangling's words. Immediately open your eyes and look at the light feather in front of you. Excited, he said, Light. Light feather. Are you really a big green bird? Guangling asked again. Upon hearing these words, Qingluan's excited mood disappeared instantly, replaced by a face full of black lines. Why hasn't this person changed? Yes, I'm Qingluan. Long time no see, Guangling. Upon hearing these words, Guangling was equally excited and finally met another companion. Rush up and tightly embrace Qingluan. Then he asked, Big Blue Bird, why are you here? Upon hearing this title, Qingluan's face turned black and he felt very helpless, but he could only let Guangling call him that. If it were someone else, I wouldn't know how many times they died. Qingluan pushed away the light feather, and Qingluan replied, I don't know either. I was here when I woke up. Next, these 2 people began to talk about their experiences during this period and how much they missed each other. 20 minutes have passed, and their nostalgia has only come to an end. Qingluan asked, Are you the place called Qisha now? What's wrong, Big Green Bird? Guangling replied. It's nothing. Qingluan's face remained paralyzed, with no expression on it. Guangling doesn't know, there will be a huge surprise waiting for her next. Qingluan is about to move into the 7th dormitory, please stay tuned. I saw your comments. Thank you for your support. Please pay attention. Seeking collection. Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Small Things with Qingluan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Small Things with Qingluan. Due to the lunch break at Notting College, Guangling had to leave. Due to the upcoming opening ceremony, the entire Notting College appears empty and has not yet officially started. After lunch break, suddenly 2 teachers walked in carrying a bed. Seeing a vacant spot on Guangling's left side, he placed the bed there. Everyone in Qisha was very puzzled, and finally someone couldn't help but ask, Teacher, is this The teacher glanced at him and said, "Oh, I forgot to mention that our college has made an exception to admit a part-time student this year, so we didn't arrange a bed for him. Well, he'll be over in a while. You can prepare and welcome the new classmates." The two teachers turned around and left. New classmate. Sigh, can't you? There are so many engineering students this year. Who knows? Hey, do you think that new classmate is more powerful than little dance sister? A suicidal boy asked. Upon hearing this, Xiaowu became unhappy and crossed her waist with both hands, arrogantly saying, "Humph. Of course it's your Xiaowu sister. Why, don't you agree? Why don't Xiaowu teach you how to be a good person?" she said very rudely. "No need, no need." The boy was very timid and quickly replied, afraid of being beaten up by Xiaowu again. "When he comes, Xiaowu will give him a head start," Xiaowu said confidently. As a soul beast with a history of 100,000 years, how could these little children possibly defeat him? "But do you say it's a boy or a girl?" Someone said, "To be honest, I hope it's a girl. There's only one girl in our 7th house." That's right, the others agreed. Guangling was not interested in these things, but rather thought to herself in a somewhat melancholic manner. Why should she leave it next to me? Can't it be placed next to Tang San and the others? But soon, Guangling was slapped in the face and was very enthusiastic about that working class student. About 15 minutes later a new student arrived, carrying a bundle and walking in. He was a boy with short black hair mixed with a hint of blue-green, blue eyes, and pretty looks. He had a paralyzed face and walked in wearing a school uniform. "Wow, he looks so beautiful," said the little dance enthusiast. He ran up to the new classmate again and said, "Hey. New here, I'm Xiaowu, the leader of Qixia. There's a rule in Qixia. Whoever is strong is the leader. Do you dare to compare with me?" The new classmate glanced at Xiaowu and said in a cold voice, expressionless, "I have no idea of being the boss. Goodbye." Well, this person doesn't seem easy to get along with. Then bypass Xiaowu and walk in the direction of Guangling to the bed next to Guangling. Xiaowu became angry when she saw the boy treating her like this and said, "You. How could you treat Xiaowu like this?" At first, Guangling was indifferent to these things until she could see the appearance of this boy clearly. Staring wide-eyed, he immediately sat up in surprise and said, "Big blue bird. Why are you here?" Sure enough, upon hearing this title, Qingluan's face turned black again. "Can you change your name? With so many people around, at least save face," he said helplessly. "Okay. Qingniao, why are you here?" Guangling immediately changed her name and asked again. I'm also a working class student." Qingluan replied. "Hello, do you two know each other? Your name is Qingniao?" Xiaowu asked very impolitely. "My name is Qingluan." Qingluan felt a little displeased when she heard the girl call her that. "Oh, your name is Qingluan." Xiaowu seemed to understand something and nodded. Watching Qingluan's gaze as he was about to devour someone, Xiaowu had no choice but to quickly return to her and Tang San's beds. Then Guangling and Qingluan began to reminisce as if they didn't know there were still people around them. Guangling asked, "Will you stay here forever in the future?" Qingluan seemed to have thought of something, but she smiled and said, "Of course." Guangling is very happy, finally someone can accompany her. Guangling looked at Qingluan and asked, "Have you obtained the soul ring yet?" "Got it, what about you?" Suddenly, Guangling leaned into Qingluan's ear and whispered, "I have also hunted for almost 10,000 years. Perhaps because I have been reborn, absorption is simple. P.S. With the experience of Guangling's title Douluo, it should be said that it is past. Congratulations. What level of soul power are you currently at?" Qingluan smiled and asked. "Humph, I won't tell you. Unless you're big green bird, let me know first. How many levels are you?" Guangling turned her head and put her hands around her chest, arrogantly saying. It's level 15. Qingluan was also very helpless when she heard this title. Ah, I'm only at level 14, Guangling sighed and shook her head, as if she was very sad. Qingluan lightly tapped Guangling's head, feeling very helpless, and said, if you had used a portion of your playing time for cultivation, with your talent, you would have already reached level 15. You have to take care of it. Guangling said arrogantly. By the way, have you registered a Soul Master? If not, let's go to the Martial Soul Hall together tomorrow and register the Soul Master. Qingluan asked, going to the Martial Soul Hall with Guangling. Guangling shook her head and said, not yet. By the way, De Qingniao, have you joined the Martial Soul Hall? Not yet, they invited me, but I didn't agree, Qingluan replied. Me too, did you see Tang San? And that little dance, I think. Guangling glanced at Tang San and the little dance and said. With years of tacit understanding between the two, Qingluan immediately understood the meaning that Guangling wanted to express. Then he said, since that's the case, we'll register as Soul Masters tomorrow. Then the two parted ways and went back to their respective beds to continue their cultivation, as there were too many people around and it was difficult to reveal any other secrets. In principle, it is 1 shift per day, but if there is more time, it will be 2 shifts per day or even more. So for the sake of the author's hard work, please pay attention. Seeking collection. There are also recommended tickets. He is a bit greedy. Thank you all for your support. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Registered Soul Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Registered Soul Master. The next morning, Tang San was taken away by the master, who said he was going to hunt soul rings. I really don't know how a level 10 soul master without a soul ring, combined with a level 29 soul master, let alone the soul skills of that level 29 soul master, can confidently venture into the soul hunting forest. As the school has not yet started, students can still leave the school. So, Guangling and Qingluan asked the teacher for leave and went to the Martial Soul Hall to register as soul masters. Walking on the way to the Martial Soul Hall, Guangling approached Qingluan and whispered, De Qingniao, do you know? Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Yu Xiaogang are all in Notting College. Their future threat to the Martial Soul Hall is not small. So we. Qingluan looked at Guangling and remembered things before her rebirth. I also hate Tang San and the others very much. However, Tang San's father is Tang Hao, and Tang Hao is likely to be secretly protecting Tang San. With their current abilities, they are still unable to compete with Tang Hao. He frowned and said to Guangling, Guangling, you have forgotten Tang San's father, Tang Hao. It is very likely that he is in Notting College. And a few days ago, we felt that kind of pressure at school, which is very likely caused by Tang Hao. Yeah, it's so annoying. My spiritual strength is barely at the level of the title Douluo, but my strength is not good. Sigh. So, you should work hard to cultivate instead of playing there every day. Do you know? Qingluan scolded. Oh my. I know, it's verbose. Guangling replied impatiently upon hearing these words. Qingluan looked at Guangling's expression and knew that he had not taken his words to heart. Sigh. I really can't do anything about him. Martial Soul Hall Branch Hall. The soldier at the door said to Qingluan and Guangling, stop, please show me your Soul Master certificate. We are here to identify martial souls and register as Soul Masters to prove it, said Guangling. Turn right inside the door and find Master Mathiano. He will register a Soul Master certificate for you, the guard replied. Okay, thank you. After speaking, Guangling pulled Qingluan in. After turning right at the door, I saw an old man. Guangling asked, are you Master Mathiano? Yes, who are you? Mathiano asked. Master Mathiano, we are here to register as a Soul Master certificate. Oh, okay. You guys come with me, Master Matano led the two into a room that was very dark. There is only one soul power ball in the room, emitting a faint blue light and floating in the air. Which of you two will come first? Matthew asked. I, Qingluan replied. Then Qingluan walked forward and placed his hand on the soul power ball. The soul power ball emitted a burst of light and reached level 15. Okay, not bad. At a young age, you have level 15 soul power. So what is your martial soul? Asked Matano. Qingluan Phantom Beast, Qingluan replied expressionlessly. Alright, let's move on. Guangling also placed his hand on the soul power ball, which also emitted a burst of light and displayed level 15. A hint of surprise flashed in Qingluan's eyes. It was clear that when he told him yesterday, he was only at level 14, and he broke through level 15 in just one night. Qingluan's small movements were clearly seen by Guangling. Guangling made a face at Qingluan and said arrogantly, "Slightly, I'm lying to you. I'm also at level 15. Humph." Guangling's proud and coquettish appearance was captured by Qingluan's eyes, filled with a smile. She doted on him and said, "It's better to avoid someone being too far away from me and feeling unbalanced." Humph. I don't know how to do it. The proud little light feather. Child, what is your martial soul? Light feather bow. After a while, alright, here are the soul master certificates for both of you. Take them, and from this month on, you can come and receive the soul master subsidy every month, said Mathiano. Are you two willing to join the martial soul hall? We have already studied at Notting College and have no intention of joining the martial soul hall at the moment, Qingluan Guangling replied in unison. Yes, even in the martial soul hall, there is no reason to forcibly poach people from other academies, said Matthew Noah. They received the soul master subsidy and went to buy some daily necessities together, ready to return to school. On the way, Guangling couldn't help but ask Qingluan, Big Qingniao, how are fourth brother and his companions doing? Will they be reborn like us? I don't know about this. I woke up at Notting College and didn't have time to search for them yet. And my strength is simply not enough, go find them. Qingluan shook her head and said disappointedly. Ah, okay. I hope they're okay, Guangling looked up at the sky and said in disappointment. I hope so. Ah, don't sigh there. All we can do now is to quickly cultivate and strive to reach the realm of being titled Douluo as soon as possible, Qingluan comforted. Okay, the Qingniao, you're right. I must practice hard next. Guangling was full of fighting spirit. But in the next few days, apart from occasionally practicing, Guangling should still play, eat, and sleep. Qingluan was also very helpless about this. Every time Guangling was reminded, she would impatiently say, "Oh, I know. I know. Big Qingniao, you're so talkative. Let me show you a drama, the martial soul of Guangling will awaken again later, so you must rest assured that Tang San will be abused. Please pay attention. Seeking collection. Thank you." End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Causing Trouble. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Causing Trouble. The next day, Notting College, backyard lawn. Ha ha ha. A group of aristocratic children smiled, covering their stomachs. Why are you laughing? Believe it or not, Xiao Wu will teach you how to be a good person later. Xiao Wu crossed her waist and looked mischievous. He ordered the boy behind him again, "Hey. You. Go and call Guangling and Qingluan over. This matter concerns the face of us working-class students, how can they not be here?" The boy who was called immediately ran towards the dormitory. As soon as he returned, he saw the two people sitting together chatting about life. Thinking of the command Xiao Wu gave her, she said to them, "Xiao Wu asked me to call you over, hurry up and leave." Why? Guangling couldn't understand. Of course, it's because those wealthy children can't stand us as working-class students. If you want to deal with us, shouldn't you also contribute as working-class students? Besides, your strength is also strong. Those people are coming to trouble you, isn't it because Xiaowu went to provoke them first? He still wants to be Noden's boss, humph. What's our business? Although Guangling is usually playful, she can still distinguish between what can be done and what cannot be done. But they all bullied us. The boy was very embarrassed because Guangling and his team were very strong and couldn't offend us, and he didn't dare to offend Xiaowu. He caused the trouble himself. Guan Laofu and De Qingyao have nothing to do with it. I won't go, he said, pulling Qingluan away from the dormitory. Hey! You guys! The boy had to run back and report the situation to Xiaowu. The boy returned to the lawn, and Xiaowu saw no one behind him. He questioned, where is the person who asked you to call? Xiaowu. The two of them said it's not their business, so they didn't come. Humph, two despicable guys. Xiaowu seemed completely unaware that if it weren't for her desire to compete for the boss, those people wouldn't have come to bully their work students. On the other side, De Qingyao, do you think that rabbit is annoying? It has no ability and causes trouble every day. After causing trouble, it even asks others to help her carry the blame and fight. Guangling walked on the school path, kicking small stones and asking. He cursed again, I've never seen such a shameless person before. No, it's a rabbit. Qingluan looked at Guangling's angry expression and felt very cute. Unable to help but smile, he comforted and said, you also said it's a rabbit. A rabbit is like a rabbit, and even if it turns into a human, it can't be changed. It's the fact that it's a rabbit. Why be angry about a rabbit? Isn't it? Suddenly, Guangling turned to look at Qingluan, only to find him staring at her and laughing. My body trembled and my face was filled with disbelief. Big blue bird, how could you laugh? Qingluan glanced at Ling, and Guangling also looked at herself, but her face turned back into a paralyzed expression. Lift your head and ignore him. In fact, Qingluan knows that whether in the past or now, she has a cold personality and never takes action easily. But I have always been different from Guangling. Thinking of this, Qingluan's thoughts drifted back to the past. At that time, they were still worshipping the temple, completing tasks together, practicing together, and playing together. That kind of time is really wonderful. Qingluan was mesmerized by her thoughts and did not hear Guangling calling her in her ear. Big bluebird. Big bluebird. De Qingyao, have you been listening to me when I'm talking? Guangling became angry. Upon hearing Guangling's angry voice, Qingluan's thoughts were immediately pulled back and she said, no, I was distracted just now. I'm sorry. Big Qingyao, what are you thinking? You're not listening to me. Humph. Guangling hugged her hands and asked angrily. Qingluan thought for a moment, but ultimately did not answer Guangling's question. After all, I can't say that I'm thinking about him, our past, forget it, let's go take a look at that troublesome rabbit, Qingluan said as he ignored himself. Xiaowu, this way. Xiaowu made Wang Xing defeat Xiao Qinyu completely. At that moment, Tang San returned. Seeing Tang San returning, Xiaowu looked surprised and quickly said, Xiao San, have you come back? Tang San heard that Xiaowu and the others were here, so he rushed over. Seeing this posture, I still didn't quite understand, so I asked Xiaowu, are you guys? Upon hearing Tang San's question, Xiaowu said unhappily, they are wealthy children who bully us working-class students. Guangling, Qingluan and others actually say it's none of their business. I'm really angry. Tang San looked at the people and said to Xiaowu, why don't you let me do it? Xiaowu thought for a moment and said, all right, Wang Xing, you come back. Let the third party go. Yes, little dance sister. Tang San walked forward and said to Xiao Qinyu, Tang San, level 13 One Ring War Soul Master, Martial Soul Blue Silver Grass. Please advise. Upon hearing these words, the other party burst into laughter and said, Blue Silver Grass. Surprisingly, it's a waste martial soul blue-silver grass. Ha ha ha. After the competition began, Tang San came forward and used his unique skills from the Tang sect to discipline those people. Those people who lost had to consider Xiaowu as the big sister. Despite being very reluctant. Ah, indeed. De Qingniao, I remember in the Battle of Jialing Pass that year, Tang San seemed to have taken something similar to this and injured the demon subduing Qianjun and others. Guangling, who was hiding aside to watch the play, saw clearly that Tang Sangang had just used that kind of top-notch tabletop thing and asked. Qingluan also saw it, frowning slightly in pondering. Suddenly, Qingluan spoke up and said, "He seems to say what kind of hidden weapon is it?" "Yes. Big blue bird." Tang San used some hidden weapon to injure the demon subduing Qianjun and others. I thought it was someone who taught him later, but now it seems that he knows it very well at a young age. What should we do? It's another big disaster, it's so annoying. Guangling hesitated. Qingluan thought of the battle at Jialing Pass, and Tang San killed Guangling. The anger in his heart surged up again, wanting to come forward and deal with Tang San, but his rationality told him that it was not enough yet, and his strength was not enough. Strength, my current strength is too weak. Not to mention being titled Douluo, Soul King and Soul Saint can kill me. To protect Guangling, the most important thing for oneself now is to improve one's strength and achieve the title Douluo as soon as possible. So he glanced at the still playing Guangling and forcibly lifted it away. Hey hey hey, big blue bird, what are you doing? Why? With this free time, why don't you hurry up and practice? Who said you want revenge? Without strength, how can you seek revenge? Are you just shouting slogans? Oh, big blue bird, let go of me. Got it. I will work hard to cultivate. Is that right? Ha. 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 Guangling said with a guilty heart. The scene is very harmonious and beautiful, thank you all for your support. So the author made an effort to add one more. Please pay attention. Collect. And there are also your recommended tickets. Another day of hard work to update. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. 6 years later. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. 6 years later. 7 rounds in the middle. They were cheering for the victory just now, while Xiaowu recounted the story of Guangling and Qingluan to Tang San, saying, Guangling and the others won't help me. Take care of those wealthy children. Surprisingly, they say it's none of their business. Are they also working class students? At this moment, the door of Qisha was opened, and Guangling and Qingluan walked in. Tang San and Xiaowu saw them both come back, and Xiaowu immediately questioned, "Where have you been? Why didn't you come over to help just now? Remember, you are also working class students." Qingluan remained expressionless, but Guangling beside him was displeased and said, "I still said that sentence. It has nothing to do with us at all. If you want to be the boss, go do it. What's our business?" "You." Xiaowu said. Tang San was also very unhappy when he saw Xiaowu being bullied. "I just saw Qingluan and Guangling, looking indifferent. My heart became even angrier." He also stepped forward and questioned, "We are all working class students. Xiaowu was bullied and you should have helped her. You have strong abilities, and besides, Xiaowu is still a girl." Because of something in her previous life, Guangling couldn't help but feel displeased with Tang San and said, "Tang San, she's going to provoke others herself. You also need to pay attention to the facts when protecting her. What does it have to do with whether we are strong or not?" "Fact? What fact? I only know that Xiaowu was bullied, but you didn't go help." "Cut, what kind of person is Xiaowu from me? She was bullied. What's wrong with me? Why should I help her? It's ridiculous." Guangling looked at Tang Sanyi's unreasonable expression, shook his head, and smiled. We are all working-class students, and Xiaowu is doing this for our own good. If you don't accept someone else's kindness, it's okay. You still say they are Xiaowu. Tang San looked at Guangling, feeling that he was unreasonable and completely unaware of his mistake. Qingluan frowned and heard Tang San scold Guangling, so she directly hit Tang San. Although my own strength is not as strong as before, I am still more than enough to deal with Tang San at the current stage. After beating her up, she pulled Guangling out of the dormitory and said, "It's nothing to do with Guangling. Don't provoke anyone you can't afford." After leaving the dormitory, Guangling still looked dumbfounded and only realized it after a while. After realizing it, he immediately hugged Qingluan and said happily, "Big Qingniao. You were really handsome just now. I really like you." Seeing the appearance of Guangling, Qingluan's ears were tinged with a slight blush. Pretending to cough, he shyly pushed away Guangling and said, "All right. Don't act around." The pushed light feather glanced at Qingluan in confusion, although Qingluan concealed it very well. But it was still seen by the sharp-eyed light feather. Guangling asked in confusion, "Big Qingniao, why are your ears red?" Upon hearing this, Qingluan's blush on her ears became even more pronounced. Glancing at the innocent Guangling, I felt even more embarrassed. Looking up at the sky, he pretended not to care and said, "It's nothing, it's just a bit hot. But after today's incident, we finally got married to Tang San's son. Just tie it up. I'm still afraid he can't do it, but..." Hot. Where is it hot in this big autumn? Guangling was still puzzled. Our pure light feathers couldn't bear to let Qingluan continue to heat up and said, "Hee. Big Qingniao, I have an ice attribute. Should I help you cool down?" Qingluan didn't know how to face Guangling, so she said, "No need," and hurriedly left. Seeing Qingluan leave, Guangling had no choice but to quickly catch up and shout, "Big Qingniao. Do you really need to help you cool down?" Qingluan walked ahead, looking at Guangling chasing after her, wanting to cry without tears. "I feel bitter in my heart, but I won't say anything. What should I do?" Online urgent. In the following days, Guangling and Qingluan walked together. Practicing together, eating together, sleeping together. It's sleeping in the same dormitory. Because they didn't deal with Tang San and the others, they spent most of their time outside. Only come back when practicing or sleeping. Tang San and Xiaowu were very unhappy with them, but there was nothing they could do. Who made them strong? In the year when Tang San broke through level 20, he was very arrogant and wanted to seek revenge from Qingluan, as if he was the only one in the world to break through level 20. Who knew that Qingluan and Guangling had already surpassed level 20, and Qingluan had not even activated his martial soul, so he once again abused Tang Sanchun. Perhaps due to being beaten twice by Qingluan in a row, Tang San and Xiaowu will be in the following days. I'm a little more at ease and won't come to trouble them casually. 6 years later. In these 6 years, Tang San Xiaowu has reached the bottleneck of level 29 one after another. The master was very pleased and believed that his theory was unbeatable. Little did they know that Guangling Qingluan had already surpassed level 30. During the winter and summer vacations, the two of them went hunting soul beasts on their own. Qingluan worked hard every day to cultivate and become a level 38 soul lord, while Guangling played every day and now he is also a level 36 soul lord. Guangling looked at the master's confident expression and her heart turned pale, speechless. With innate soul power and twin martial souls, even dog cult can become a title Douluo, okay? No, even if no one teaches you, you can still become a title Douluo. Becoming a title Douluo is just a matter of time. On the day of graduation, Yu Xiaogang came to recommend them to go with Tang San to Shrek College. Shrek. Guangling Qingluan, the two of them exchanged a glance. What came to mind, a hint of surprise flashed in my eyes. But Yu Xiaogang mistakenly thought that they wanted to go to this college. He took it upon himself to refuse the olive branch thrown by other advanced Soul Master academies for them. Introduce them to the location of Shrek College and its glorious history. This is also the first time that Qingluan and Guangling have not been angry in this situation. Because maybe they can meet a few old acquaintances in that college. So Guangling and Qingluan agreed to go to Shrek College together. On the way, although both sides were unhappy with each other. But under the guidance of the master, Tang San did not have any disputes between the two sides. Soto City, brother, why do you think your teacher wants us to attend Shrek? There are several advanced Soul Master colleges that all want to recruit us. Xiaowu, you see we reached the level of Great Soul Master at the age of only 12. This is not just the teacher's guidance. The teacher's recommendation for us to go naturally has his reasoning. But why call Guangling and the others over? Oh, Xiaowu, the teacher must have his point in doing this. Let's not guess here. In these 6 years, Tang San has been completely conquered by Yu Xiaogang's intelligence and intelligence. For Yu Xiaogang, Tang San has already begun blind worship. Although the opponent is only a level 29 Soul Master. On the way to the hotel, the group saw a man on the street with a rough and broad appearance, short golden hair, and a scar in his right eye. And his martial soul is actually a golden lion. Guangling and Qingluan looked at the person in surprise, and coincidentally, the man also saw Guangling and Qingluan. Shouting loudly, "Old Wu, why are you here?" P.S. Family, I noticed that Tang San and Xiao Wu were not called San Gu and Xiao Wu after each other. Qingluan and Guangling happen to be the 3 offerings and 5 offerings, so the male lion also calls them the 3 brothers and the little 5. Isn't this too heavy? To be honest, I don't really want these 2 groups of characters to be together. Because I really don't like Tang San. So do you have any good ideas? Help the author, thank you. The author has something to say. I was a bit busy this morning, so there was no change. And I happen to belong to the kind of person who wants to publish it immediately when there are saved manuscripts. I can't even save it. So it was sent a bit late, sorry. Then I just want to ask, do you want to read the short stories of Guangling and his team that quickly abuse Tang San, that kind of cool writing, or the ones that slowly abuse them to the point of heart-wrenching? Mainly recently, there has been a lack of inspiration, and later only a rough idea was conceived. I haven't decided which one to write yet. Very conflicted. Because I feel that both are pretty good. Then Guangling and the others will be reborn again, a little bit of cheating, shouldn't it be too much? For example, seizing the opportunity of Tang San and others in advance. Finally, please support me, thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Goodbye Lion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Goodbye Lion. Guangling and Qingluan supported their forehead and thought to themselves, why is this person still like this? The lion walked over and wanted to pat Qingluan's shoulder. Seeing that Qingluan's stranger was not looking close, he immediately withdrew his hand. Go pat Guangling's shoulder. Seeing the old lion excitedly, he said, Xiao Wu, San Gu, why are you here? Xiao Wu San Gu. Is this called us? Tang San. Xiao Wu was surprised to hear this. Guangling glanced at Tang San and Xiao Wu next to him and turned to approach the lion, whispering, this place is not suitable for talking. Let's go somewhere else. The lion looked around and understood that it was not a good place to speak. He scratched his head and smiled foolishly, haha, Lao Wu, you're right. Let's take a step to speak, take a step to speak. Then he was ready to pull the light feather and leave, but Qingluan looked at it and felt displeased. But because of face saving, I feel embarrassed to stop the 2 of them. So he said expressionlessly to Tang San and Xiao Wu, we already know where Shrek Academy is. We will go on the day of registration, and will bid farewell now. Leave Tang San and Xiao Wu lost in place. Did you leave? What's going on? Watching the three of them gradually walk away, Tang San and Xiao Wu were filled with doubts in their hearts. They grew up together at Notting College and never heard of such friends. On the other side, the lion pulled Guangling and Qingluan to his resting place in Soto City. The three of them had not seen anything to say for a long time, and their hearts were filled with doubts. For this reason, no one spoke. Make the atmosphere quiet and awkward. Fourth brother, why are you in Soto City? Where are the others? Guangling broke the silence first and took the initiative to ask. Well, old Wu, I only saw the demon subduing Qianjun and them. They went to the martial soul city to inquire about the news, replied the lion. Demon slaying Qianjun. Do they still remember the past? Guangling was surprised. That's right, they not only remember, but they're also looking for you. Now, okay, the five of us, we finally got together. Are you saying that all of us have been reborn together? Qingluan, who was standing by, couldn't help but ask. Yes, theoretically it is, the lion frowned and said. Theory. What does it mean? Qingluan and Guangling are both puzzled. They have been staying at Notting College for the past 2 years. Although they have not neglected their cultivation, they have very little understanding of the martial soul hall. For these things, including why are they reborn? Why do people have memories? There are doubts in my heart. The battle at Jialing Pass resulted in heavy casualties in the martial soul hall. The 7 major offerings in the hall of worship have fallen one after another. No one knows what will happen. San Gu, Lao Wu, please be mentally prepared for what I'm going to say next. Okay, you can tell me. I won't be scared. It's like this, although we've come back. But according to this time period in our previous life, we should have been worshipping the temple instead of the way we are now. The lion shook his head and said helplessly. The temple of worship. How is the temple of worship? Is everything okay? Guangling and Qingluan were both very anxious. Don't worry, you too. Let me finish. The current situation is that the 3 to 7 offerings in the temple disappeared together on a night about 6 years ago. Missing. Yes, they are all missing. Everyone in the martial soul hall is searching for them. Before encountering you, Qianjun subduing demons and I had already merged and explained the situation through the great offering. Although the big offering is unbelievable, they can only accept the fact, but we can't find the 2 of you. Now, all 7 of our martial soul hall's big offering have finally been gathered. After speaking, the whole room fell into silence again. Guangling and Qingluan are both pondering, absorbing the enormous amount of information brought by the male lion. After a moment, Guangling lifted her head and asked, have you told the Grand Ancestor about what will happen in the martial soul hall in the future? Suddenly, the lion looked serious and said, I said it, but the Grand Preceptor said we will make a decision when you 2 come back. Well, when we have time, we will definitely go to the martial soul city. Why can't we go now? Everyone is waiting for you, the lion asked puzzled. By the way, I forgot to tell you. Tang San and Xiao Wu were with us just now. What Shrek Academy are they going to enter? Shrek, remember. Shrek. It was the battle at Jialing Pass. The lion thought of the scene at Jialing Pass and clenched his fist, feeling equally angry. That's right, now we're invited by them to sign up for Shrek College together. The old man and Qingluan thought that maybe they could see all of them there. Since that's the case, I'll go with you. I'll go tell my elder brother that we must solve them and prevent the Jialing incident from happening again. Okay, fourth brother. We'll meet at Shrek College. Shrek College is located at XXX location XXX. Register in 3 days. Okay, we'll see you in 3 days, said the lion and immediately left. Guangling's face remained calm on the surface, but her heart was very agitated. As soon as the lion left, he immediately revealed his true nature and said, "Ah ah. It's so annoying. What are all these things?" The Qingluan beside her had a smile in her eyes, but still had a paralyzed face. She reached out to touch Guangling's head and comforted, "All right, it's okay, those things won't happen again." Guangling hugged his head and lay on the table, enjoying Qingluan touching his head. Suddenly, Guangling thought of something and jumped 3 feet high, excitedly saying, "Big blue bird, I remember Tang San said that he had obtained a lot of immortal grass in the lonely and rich territory, among which Ning Rongrong's 7 treasure glass pagoda also evolved into 9 treasure glass pagoda there. He. How about we go grab him? If Tang San doesn't get it, the 9 treasures glass pagoda won't appear." Guangling was particularly excited, and coupled with his already playful nature, he couldn't control himself at once. Qingling also remembered this incident and expressed agreement with Guangling's idea. The appearance of the 9 treasures glass pagoda will pose a huge threat to the martial soul hall. P.S. I've been a bit busy these past few mornings, so I haven't made any changes. And I happen to belong to someone who can't even save manuscripts. So it was sent a bit late, sorry. Then I want to ask again, do you want to read the short stories of Guangling and his team that quickly abuse Tang San, that kind of cool writing, or the ones that slowly abuse and torture until your heart aches? Mainly recently, there has been a lack of inspiration, and later only a rough idea was conceived. I haven't decided which one to write yet. Very conflicted. Because I feel that both are pretty good. Then Guangling and the others will be reborn again, a little bit of cheating, shouldn't it be too much? For example, seizing the opportunity of Tang San and others in advance. Finally, please support me, thank you. Try to watch every day. I have been quite busy lately. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Registration, Part 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Registration, Part 1, Big Qingniao, why don't we go now? Get those things as soon as possible so that I can rest assured, said Guangling. No, the medicine garden of Lonely Bow is in the sunset forest. 3 days is not enough time, let's go later when we find time. Qingluan roughly planned the time needed, and it took 3 days to go back and forth. Time was too tight. Yes, no matter how weak Du Bo is, he is still a title Douluo. With our current strength, it's hard to say who will lose or win when we encounter him. Guangling thought for a moment and decided to go again in the future. There's still plenty of time, as long as we hurry to Tang San and take those herbs, Qingluan also said. That's right, there's still plenty of time, Guangling agreed. By the way, Big Blue Bird. We finally came to Soto City, let's go play. Guangling used to have a playful personality, but even after living for another life, he still hasn't changed his playful personality. Qingluan's playfulness grew stronger as she looked at Guangling. With a hint of helplessness and indulgence in her eyes, she whispered, "Okay, according to you, where are we going?" Well, I heard that the night market in Soto City is very fun. But now it's time to practice in the afternoon and then go at night. Guangling's eyes lit up when she heard that she could go out and play, but she thought for a moment before answering. Okay, it's up to you. Qingluan remained expressionless. Qingluan was born with a cold personality but had her own preferences, and the person she favored was probably Guangling. At night the night market in Soto City is actually a snack street. On both sides of the street are some snack shops, and there are also some vendors on the street, displaying such snacks and delicacies. Guangling looked at these delicacies and couldn't move her eyes for a moment. The vendors left him dazzled and unsure of which one to choose. Guangling was once the 5th offering in the Hall of Worship, and was the group favorite of the Hall of Worship. You can harm any of the offerings in the Hall of Worship, but if you harm the light feather, the entire Hall of Worship will be held accountable to you. In summary, Guangling is also favored by the temple, so in terms of entertainment, he never wrongs himself, let alone his Big Blue Bird accompanying him today. So Guangling is looking here and strolling there on the snack street. I bought a lot of food, with tomatoes on sticks in my left hand, barbecue in my right hand, and a lot of other food in my hand, such as xiaobing, baked cake and griddle, pancakes, fruits, glutinous rice. As Guangling ate and played, she gradually forgot that she didn't come out alone. Qingluan behind him, helplessly following him. Qingluan's gaze towards Guangling was gentle, and towards Guangling, Qingluan has always had no temper. Those snacks are not expensive either. Guangling accidentally bought too many. What should Guangling do when she is worried about not being able to finish eating something? Suddenly, he saw Qingluan following him next to him, and his eyes lit up, thinking of something. With a smile, he said to Qingluan, "The Qingniao, where have you been? I just came to see you." Qingluan thought to herself, "Find me. I don't know who played it just now, forget." Ha! So. With. Completely forget about your own existence. Seeing Qingluan ignoring him, Guangling smiled and said, "Do you think I bought you so much food? How about some?" Qingluan glanced at it and then remembered that Guangling had already eaten so much just now, so he wouldn't want to. Qingluan's face was covered in black lines and he said lightly, "You probably can't finish it, can you?" Upon hearing this, Guangling's hair exploded and she exclaimed angrily, "Can't finish it all? How could it be? These are all my favorite foods to eat. I just look at you alone and have nothing. I'm just kind enough to share some with you." Looking at the appearance of Guangling's hair, Qingluan sighed and said, "Oh, forget it, give it to me. Don't buy it again." Upon hearing this, Guangling smiled and immediately handed over all the food he had eaten, which was only a small portion, to Qingluan. "I want Qingluan to taste it, as the saying goes, we can't waste food." Qingluan, who was about to get angry, was very happy when she saw Guangling. She shook her head helplessly and thought to herself, "Forget it, why bother with this little guy? Who made him Guangling?" Qingluan thought helplessly. So a happy and beautiful day passed again. Time passed quickly, and 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. After merging with the lion, the two headed to Shrek College. Quickly, the three of them arrived at the entrance of Shrek College, where many people lined up at the registration office. And a fence with a green monster logo on the gate, with Shrek written below. Guangling looked at the green emblem of Shrek College, frowned, and said disdainfully, "It's so ugly." Dean Shrek's level of appreciation is really unique. They arrived neither early nor late, just behind Tang San and the others. The first impression this college gave Qingluan and the others was that it was dilapidated. It was really dilapidated. Later, they discovered that this school was actually built in a village. Shrek was shocked by Qingluan, Guangling and Xiongshi. Guangling roused about something and joined the enrollment team. At the registration office, an elderly person was saying that the registration fee was 10 gold soul coins per person. Although 10 gold soul coins were not a big deal for Qingluan and his companions, as the male lion returned to the temple and brought many gold soul coins, saying it was originally their property. But if it's not a formal soul master academy like this, wealthy people won't come, only commoners will come. For ordinary people, 10 golden soul coins can be enough to provide them with worry-free food and clothing for a lifetime. However, this is only the registration fee, and the tuition fee for 1 semester is 100 gold soul coins. Such high tuition fees would be impossible to afford without the support of a soul master at home. The registration requirements are even more outrageous. At the age of 12, one must reach level 20 soul power to be considered successful. At the age of 12, reaching level 20 soul power, innate soul power is at least level 7 or above. Such a person is a rare genius in any college. Placed here but being. At this moment, a family who has paid the registration fee but is informed that their soul power does not meet the standard cannot enter Shrek Academy. The parents wanted to retrieve the registration fee for those 10 golden soul coins, but were refused. Subsequently, Dai Mubai once again revealed that the cultivation level of the 2 yellow and 1 purple soul sovereigns posed a threat to this family. Seeing this scene, Guangling, Qingluan, and Xiongshi were all stunned by the style of Shrek Academy. Although they hated the Shrek 7 monsters, they never expected Shrek Academy to be like this. The Martial Soul Hall never does these things, as it has a dedicated orphanage. Adopt those orphans, and as they grow up, those with good talents can enter the Martial Soul Academy to study. The Martial Soul Hall, which has slightly weaker talents, will make other arrangements. In short, it will not worry about food and clothing for a lifetime. Finally, it was Guangling's turn and the 3 of them went to the registration office. The old man said, "Stretch out your hand and see if your bone age is suitable." Guangling, Qingluan, and Xiongshi reluctantly reached out their hands to touch their bone age, and immediately withdrew their hands. The old man nodded and said to them, "All right, release your martial souls." The 3 of them simultaneously activated their soul power, and suddenly 3 beams of light appeared at the registration office. Green, blue, and red. 1,000 year, 2,000 year, 3 soul rings slowly rise from bottom to top. The configuration of the soul ring of the 3 Qingluans is almost the same, 1 purple and 2 black. The old man's chin dropped in shock and said incredulously, 1 purple and 2 black, how could this be? Tang San and others on the side were also stunned. The old man asked, "What is your martial soul?" The old man really didn't know what kind of martial soul it was, only knew it was a lion, a green bird, and a bow. The golden lion. Qingluan phantom beast. Ice feather divine bow. The old man looked at these 3 people, nodded, very satisfied, and then asked Dai Mubai to bring these people into the college. When he saw Guangling, he noticed that his left face was covered in ice and asked, "Is this a martial soul backlash?" "Yes," Guangling said coldly, then turned around and followed Qingluan and the others into the academy. Walking on the way into school, Dai Mubai curiously said, "How did you 3 achieve your soul rings?" "I don't know," Qingluan said coldly. Okay, Dai Mubai obediently closed his mouth as he looked at these few people who were unwilling to speak and had stronger abilities than himself. Tang San and Xiao Wu on the side were very puzzled, as they had been together at Notting College for many years. "But I have never seen Qingluan and Guangling unlock martial souls before, is that why they don't unlock martial souls? But who helped them hunt down the eternal soul rings?" Tang San, who couldn't figure it out, had to give up thinking. At the 2nd level of the college, Dai Mubai said, "You can skip the 2nd and 3rd levels directly, the 4th level." The children waiting to sign up next to them immediately became dissatisfied and protested, "Why? Why can they skip the 2nd or 3rd level?" Dai Mubai smiled and said, "If your soul power is also above level 25, then you can also skip the 2nd and 3rd levels. Level 25. This is impossible." Dai Mubai took the soul power ball from the invigilator's hand and threw it at Tang San and the others, saying to Tang San, "It's impossible for oneself. Impossibility doesn't mean others are impossible." Tang San continued. Level 29. After Tang San finished testing, he gave the soul power ball to Xiao Wu for testing. "It's level 29 again. If that's the case, I think I can also skip the 2nd and 3rd levels," said Ning Rongrong on the side. Then she took the soul power ball from Xiaowu's hand to test her soul power. Level 2. 26. At this moment, a black shadow appeared and snatched the soul power ball from Ning Rongrong's hand to test his soul power. Level 27. Then he gave the soul power ball to Qingluan, Guangling, and Xiongshi. 3. 38 levels. Level 36. Level 37. After the 3 of them finished measuring their soul power, Dai Mubai said, "How about it? Let's take it. 1 is level 26, 1 is level 28, 2 is level 29, and 3 is above level 30. Okay, said the student next to him immediately. Then Dai Mubai took them to the 4th level and said they were fighting against Teacher Zhao. P.S. It was posted late today, isn't it the weekend? So we decided to merge the two and send them together. There are about 3,000 words. Some people say that there is a timeline issue. If Guangling and his companions were reborn, Tang San would have already been at the level of Douluo with titles. I feel that there will be less fun, so they were reborn at the same age as Tang San and started over again. The specific details will be explained later. And isn't Tang San self-proclaimed as a genius? Then let him see what genius is and make him autistic. Finally follow and vote, thank you. End of this chapter.